born and raised in Kettering and attended Fairmont West High School. Most of her friends decided to attend college after high school, but Ann wanted to go to work and found a local clerical job. It didn't take very long before she realized that that was a mistake, and so a few months later she enrolled at Wright State University. In 1972, Wright State only had 6 buildings on campus, but Ann saw enormous opportunity. She quickly fell in love with the liberal arts and decided to major in social work. She also met and fell in love with the love of her life and fellow student, Rob Weisgarber. If I were to identify the top alumni of Wright State University, Ann Weisgarber would be among those people. She has gone on to be enormously successful, and she's one of those genuine people that really cares about the students, cares about our success, cares about Wright State's long-term viability. She's the best advocate and best spokesperson we have. I think her leadership has meant the ability for Wright State to say this is one of our shining stars, and that's how we think of Ann Weisgarber as a shining star for Wright State University. She has worked with students, she's taught classes, she's mentored, she's done so many things for us that she's given back 100-fold from what her degree actually was. And so I think so highly of her personally and professionally. She's the best of the best.
Ann graduated in 1976 with a degree in social work. She then worked in a psychiatric facility. Then she and Rob were married, and they relocated to Houston, where they still reside. Ann just has a great, I think, passion for people, and it just really comes through when you talk with her and get to know her. She's just a very humble, kind, caring, compassionate person, and those are the qualities that all great social workers have. I think she gives all of us a lot of hope, because as social workers, we all think we have a great book in us. That's something we always talk about because we have great stories as social workers. And for us to see a social worker who has actually become a successful author has just been amazing. Ann Weisgarber has really been a role model for me. She is just, to me, the epitome of a great social worker, a great alumni of Wright State, and a great contributor to the arts in our country.
So her first novel, The Personal History of Rachel Dupree, was inspired by a trip that Ann took to the Badlands National Park. And while she was there, she saw a picture of an African-American woman, and it made her think, what's the story behind that? You don't see a lot of pictures of African-Americans homesteading at this time, and it really kind of sparked the novel. And from there, it was, I think, about 7 years that she worked on that book before it ended up being published. Ann's success as a writer has been great for our students to see. And one thing that I think is so wonderful about Ann is that she's willing to really reach out to our students, so that when I first met her at that lunch, one of the students that was there was Ryan Ireland, and he was a graduate student at the time and working on a novel, and then Ann said at the lunch, hey, if anybody ever wants to keep in touch with me, here's my email. And she meant it. That's the amazing part about Ann. And so she ended up coming back, like, I think 6 months, a year later, and I taught her first novel in my novel writing class, and Ryan was in that class, so they reconnected. He had emailed her at one point, but they kept in touch. So when he finished the first novel that he would publish, he contacted Ann about, how do I go about getting an agent? How do I go through this process? She helped him along. She ended up writing a blurb for his first book. She really has paid it forward in pretty amazing ways with our students.
I see Ann out and about everywhere. She supports Wright State. Even though Ann and Rob live in Texas right now, they go everywhere that Wright State goes, and they are so dedicated and really exemplary alumni from Wright State. Well, we love Ann Weisgarber, and we love Rob and Ann as well. So we're so pleased that Ann is receiving this award. I can't think of anybody more deserving for this. So kudos to Wright State and kudos to Ann.
I think what's really valuable about Ann's contribution is she loves to tell her story. I mean, she's a fabulous writer, and her story is one of the beautiful stories about what Wright State does for people in their lives and their careers. And so when she tells her story about how she found herself and where an English professor really gave her the understanding that she could be a great writer, it's a story that inspires people who hear it. And it reminds people what Wright State's all about. So for us, having her as part of the campaign cabinet along with Rob was not only what they do monetarily for the university, but their willingness to share their story has been a real a plus for our campaign. We are also excited for Anne that her first novel, The Personal History of Rachel Dupree, is going to be made into a film. And what's exciting about that is the film will star Academy Award winner Viola Davis. And to think about that being product of her great work, it just makes us all so very proud. We're so very proud of Anne and the amazing graduate she is of this fine university called Wright State.